How would you explain James Smith?
45 percentages. People were happy.
As a person.
Golden rule of YouTube is, if I click on your profile, I should know what it is you do and what big problem you solve.
You've just nailed something and you know it inside out and no one can get in the way of it.
Going on Piers Morgan, you're going on Chris Evans, You're doing this.
Yeah, so you won't call Piers fat. I put on half a stone over Christmas. Do you think I'm fat?
And I had him blocked for 4 years because I thought he was a
Did you block him, did you?
This could pay off my parents' mortgage. People are like, you sell out. Quit my big channel. I'm still going to use my big channel. It's just great packaging. Because people see that and go, why? No offense to Chris Williamson. I don't like talking to people unless it's constructive. So here's the funny thing. I've only said this on maybe one of the podcasts.
Have you been sued?
Yeah, so...
Go on. How many times have you been sued?
Probably 4 big ones. And they slammed us. And they were a big business. 15, 20 lawyers go through every video I'd ever made. I got threatened with legal for a public apology. He said to me, if you have to do a public apology, you're done. Because everyone's going to come for one.
James, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Very much looking forward to this one. I think the last time we saw each other, we were on the piss in Bournemouth.
That's right.
A couple of years ago,
with some of the Through Dart lads.
That's right.
They're crazy.
They're crazy, aren't they?
And it gave me the fear a little bit. The next day I woke up, it's like we didn't need to go that hard.
It was like a Wednesday night or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, just get a bit excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was last time. And then the times before that, I've only seen you busy around Bournemouth Sevens with your walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
But this would have been 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah. You've been Bournemouth Sevens?
Mate, I was Mr. Bournemouth Sevens.
Were you?
Yeah. And you actually gave me free tickets one year on Twitter.
Did I?
Before I had any social media following, it would have been your guys in the team.
Quality.
It was like some kind of Twitter competition. You're running 10 free tickets. And I applied or retweeted and I won. But I was coming anyway. So it was just the opportunity to bring my friends. Played for Smashy Bears.
Did you? Okay.
But then they got too good.
The Smashy Bears are linked with where?
So we had
Gloucester. Is it Gloucester or
some Guildford boys? No, was the St. Paul's Pirates.
That's right. Yeah,
they're your Gloucester boys. But I was at Hartbury College as well, so I knew a lot of those guys. Then I was playing for Redigensians, who had a lot of top level athletes in their teams. Smashy Bears started as a social side. Then we would come to Bournemouth and we would have the pro team and then the beer team.
Yeah.
And I was in the beer team, and there was a part of me that would watch them play on the first team pitch, and I was thinking, where did we go wrong?
Yeah, I want a piece of that.
Yeah, or not even the other way. Yeah. Being in the social leagues is amazing. Yeah. And I've ended up playing for Southampton Union, the social leagues, probably done maybe five years at Bournemouth Sevens.
Is that right? Oh, wow.
And then one time I did get on the first team pitch playing for a team called Storm.
Yeah.
They had a player injured. They were like, oh, can you come play? I'd only had a couple beers. And I ran into a Fijian. It was like running into a parked car. I was like, maybe it's good I'm not on this pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Smashy Bears, a few years doing that. Whenever they were playing the smaller tournaments where, like Froome or something, I'd get the call up. But then when it was Bournemouth Sevens, I'd be looking for another team. If things were really tough, you're playing for Movember. So it's, I really enjoyed it. It was credit to that tournament. There's nothing like it anywhere else in the world. And when I'm in Australia, I've been living there for now 8 years. I try and tell people in the rugby scene about rugby union is dead over there.
It's like the fourth sport, isn't it? Rugby union out there.
Well, what's annoying is my partner's family, I will say like, oh, Finn Russell, look at this. They don't understand union for a start. And they don't know any of the names. The only name they know is Johnny Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Then I try and say, oh, the Six Nations is on. What's that?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, the Barbarians are playing. Who's that?
Right, okay, wow.
Then the thing that kills me the most in Australia at the moment is the national team will play in empty stadiums or even Wallabies, Brumbies, Reds. I'll watch the highlights on YouTube and the stadium's empty. There's maybe 20, 30% capacity. Yeah. And for me, that's quite sad because rugby union in Australia is not what it was maybe 10, 15 years ago.
We used to look up to Australian rugby and New Zealand rugby years ago, don't we? Still look up to New Zealand rugby, but Australia seems to have massively dipped.
And
why?
Kiwis as well. And Argentina seems to be the only team that's really punching through. And I love to see it.
Yeah, same. Argie's beating New Zealand or Australia or something.
I had goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I was there in front of my dad. I was messaging my dad, wake up, go watch this on YouTube. So yeah, I've always loved rugby. I feel like my drinking team had a rugby problem more than anything else. But one thing, credit to the tournament is let's say I want to go to a festival, and this isn't me under any kind of, I'm not here on commission, so I'll Bournemouth Sevens tickets. But if I go to Lovebox, SW4, I always remember that maybe towards my mid-late 20s, the crowd really changed. Yeah. And it went from, I feel actually, so I'm 35, there was an area where I drank heavily at uni, but drugs weren't a thing at uni.
Yeah.
So by the time we reached 24, 25, we're getting a bit sick of having hangovers. You have your first pill in Ibiza and you go, wow, why have I been drinking for all this time? And then you almost go through, obviously you have the 1 or 2 times that you maybe took too much MDMA and you're cooked, and then you have a come down, you're crying in your bath. But then you get to your sensible late 20s where me and my friends would go to Ministry of Sound. We would have a great night. We'd do 5-6 hours. We'd leave at 5 a.m. No one's lost each other.
Yeah.
Get in a cab on the way home. Get your jacket from the cloakroom. You go, what a night.
Yeah.
And whenever I went to festivals in my later 20s, it was just young kids doing Ket, K-hole. This person's down here. And worse yet, I've been at festivals where kids are dying.
Yeah.
And I feel like you need those few years of drinking to realize when things go south, they can really go south, so that you have your mature mind on when you party a bit older. But at Bournemouth, having 250 rugby teams?
Yeah, we had at Bournemouth Sevens Festival, we had 450 teams this year. 200 odd rugby, 100 odd netball, hockey, dodgeball, CrossFit, like all these sports we've been thrown in over the years. You know, it's mad to where it's grown from over the last 17 years.
How many people did you have for the Saturday night? 20?
Yeah, 20.
20,000 people.
Yeah.
But the people that were there, the kind of makeup of it was like something really impressive. A lot of athletes, a lot of health seeking people that aren't going there to like escape the mundane of their life, going into some wild drug, you know, cocktail vortex, just people looking to have a good time, people already having a good time. And I remember playing sevens all day thinking, what a great day. Then you have a few drinks, sun's coming down, then you have the night, and then you go into another day of sevens the next day. And I've never seen it replicated anywhere else where so many people now as part of a culture just go to a festival to get fucked up.
To get smashed. But here, there's actually something for everyone. You know, 12 festival arenas. You've got all the sport in the day, and then another influx of people come in for the party about 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 1 o'clock for 3 days, you know?
So yeah, I remember probably about 2-3 p.m. start getting the beers in.
Yeah.
But then I remember, you know, some of the teams I played for, they'd have a policy, no drinking till we finish the game.
Whatever.
So then some people, you'd be like the turnstile. Oh no, we've lost. We've been eliminated. But yeah, I played in Amsterdam, Dubai, all around Europe, but nothing's quite emulated Bournemouth Sevens. It was like, you know, I did a steroid cycle for 1 year.
Did you?
Yeah, turned up and everyone's like, you look jacked. I was like, I know. I've been on give 10 weeks for this.
Well, you just were open to everyone going,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
When I was like 24, I've spoken about it more on social media, but you know, everyone has their like Ibiza holidays or their like photo shoot. Yeah. 1 year I did it for Bournemouth Sevens.
Is that right?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Top off, looking good.
Was it? Well, it didn't look that good, but the legs developed a bit. I had a bit of maybe a bit of quad definition. That's about as far as it got. And I remember someone, I was really amped up to, you know, Bournemouth Sevens this year. Then one of our teammates broke his leg in the first game. And I was like, oh God.
Just in case.
Yeah, maybe. Do you know what? Maybe I'm just here for the social.
Yeah. Quality.
So coming down these roads on the way here today kind of reminds me of that. You know, lads in the car, all the stuff in the back, where we sleeping tonight, we don't know. Yeah.
Amazing.
But then I came back in 2017.
Was that the last time you were there? 2017 was it?
And it sounds really crazy. I had 35,000 Facebook followers and I was swamped because probably the first 50,000 of my followers were probably one person related from me.
Yeah, okay.
So it would have been someone I played rugby with and their sister, someone that I met at Bournemouth Sevens that started following. So it was very one person removed. So out of those 35,000 people, it was very strange for me because my first videos started taking off probably early 2017. It was, yeah. So 2016, I moved to Australia, or I went there backpacking, and then some of my videos started taking off. So
if we rolled all the way back, how have you built such a strong personal brand over the years? Did it stem from 2017?
Yeah, 2016, I decided I was going to Australia. I've spoken about this on a few podcasts. I was actually at Ultra Festival in Europe in Croatia, and I did a massive bump of ketamine. And like, I wish I could lie to people. I wish I could say, you know, I was meditating at a retreat or, you know, I was reading a book, but it wasn't. It was a massive bump of ketamine. And I remember always having a hard line against ketamine until one day in Ministry of Sound, we'd been sold a dud pill and I was like, I'm going home. And I see my friend doing a bump. I was like, nah, you know, I live at home with my parents. My mum and dad are well educated, you know, well, they're not actually well educated. They're posh though. They're like self-made posh, you know, can't be doing this. And then I just thought of the idea of going home from ministry to Ascot in a cab on my own. I thought, bollocks to it, let's do it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought, no wonder people do this all the time.
Yeah.
And not to, you know, promote ketamine.
Yeah.
But it's nice when your favorite song's starting and you can be in the best place on earth by the time the beat drops, which you can't do with many other drugs apart from cocaine, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I had this huge introspective experience where I was challenging myself as a personal trainer in Bracknell. I was making maybe £50 an hour, which is great for Bracknell.
Yeah.
My rent was only £360 a month. So the first day of PTing, sometimes I'd pay off everything, car finance, gym, everything. And I started challenging myself in this K-hole at Martin Garrix. It wasn't really a K-hole. I've never lost control. But the voice in my head was saying, you're a PT, you need to take this seriously. You're actually quite good at this. You should move to London. Then the next voice goes, you don't like London. Don't go there. You need to go somewhere else. And then it was like, okay, where are you going to go? And I'm doing mental mathematics whilst, two-stepping at Martin Garrix. And then this voice said, you need to go to Sydney. It's like the capital of the world for fitness. And you can discover, that you need to temperature test yourself there. I did the same with rugby where I was playing at Maidenhead and we're in National 3 and I got dropped and at the time pretty immature, blame the coach.
How old were you roughly at this time?
26.
Okay.
26. It wasn't the fact I was missing tackles or that they were better players.
Yeah.
So I went to Reading Enzians and Reading Enzians, really good outfit, National 2, semi-pro. And I played there for 2 seasons, made the first team a few times. It was more so me going somewhere where I didn't actually expect myself to become a first team in and out name of the club. I just wanted to go prove to myself and others that I could actually do well. I think I did the same when I initially went to Australia. And what I didn't realize was when you travel to the other side of the world, you can start your life fresh and be anyone.
Yeah.
No one knows who I am. No one knows really what I'm like. No one knows how bad my pace is running with a rugby ball. No one knows this stuff. I can be whoever I want. And that's exactly what happened. And just before I left to Australia, I sent out an email to my very small email list. And I said, if any of you want me to be your online coach, this is before it was cool, I will charge you an hour and train you for the week. So I was getting £50 to £55 per person per week. And I think 10 to 15 people signed up. Okay. So I was making £500 a week, which I couldn't believe.
Online, just all online. Okay.
Here's your program.
Yeah.
I'll check in with you on WhatsApp every day. And little things like, okay, Sarah, send me a video of your gym next time you're in there. Film all the equipment. And then I'd watch the video back and go, oh, you've got a hack squat. I'm going to put that in your program next week.
Brilliant.
The rep's going to be super high. Intensity is going to be super low. I'd even say, don't put any weights on it. I want you to feel the movement. Let me know how it goes. And in reality, I was only spending 5 to 10 minutes servicing each person. So for me, I had this lucrative change in business where now I could scale up to 20, 30, 40, 50 clients, not have to go to the gym, not have to go fill up their water bottle. And the craziest thing was people actually started getting better results online because people don't need someone to stand next to you for an hour a week. They actually need someone to talk to on the days they skip the gym, fuck up their diet, wake up with a hangover. So then I got into this positive feedback loop of when content did well, better engagement, more people would sign up to my email list, which I could add to email marketing. So then I could sell my online coaching program.
Did you understand email marketing back then?
I was, because I was listening to podcasts of people that were doing better than me.
Okay.
And they would have guests on and be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't start an email list sooner. I'm like, what the fuck is an email list?
Yeah.
And it was so even in 2017, when I first went to Australia, didn't have a business Instagram.
Were you a face before you went out there?
No.
So you went out there cold. It was like
3,000 followers. Okay. All of which Bracknell, Reading, UK.
Mates and rugby boys. And
and I thought that was big time because Reading Enzians only had 1,700 followers. Yeah. So when I overtook my rugby club, I was like, lads, I'm big time. Yeah. This rugby club's been established 50 years. And so when I went out there, it was cold. And because of that, I then went to join a Fitness First and very much same, pay your rent, go into a gym. But in Bracknell, there was 5 of us to 2,000 members. In Australia, in this gym, there was 32 personal trainers. Probably 2,500 members. No windows. No natural light. So, oh God. So I actually hated it in there. Didn't do too well. And that's when I doubled down on social media, created a business Instagram account. And then it would be the fact I'd wake up, have 2 coffees, service all my clients. And it, rather than being some amazing coach, I would actually just copy paste a prompt and paste it to 50 of them. Hey, how was your session yesterday? What are you working on today? What can I help you with? Let me know if you need anything. Boom. And then I would go to a skateboard to a cafe, have some breakfast. 30 of them would get back to me. The others would be like, I'm fine, thanks, whatever. And then I had the whole rest of the day to just create content for when the UK wakes up because the time zones are inverted. UK is asleep from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., sometimes up until 5 p.m. when it's daylight savings. Yeah. As soon as they wake up, boom, hit a piece of content. And then that was it, really, for 8 years. And I've been following a similar kind of structure to that ever since, but now with different businesses.
Amazing what you've achieved.
Thank you.
Really amazing what you've
Well, there
achieved.
are some times where I think, hold on a second, where's the Lambo?
Yeah.
Because I haven't got one. And I think I get caught up in this battle of one, having liquid capital and my just incessant hatred of tax.
Same.
Sometimes I've actually realized that paying tax makes me less happy than pulling out the money.
Yeah.
So if you pull out 100K, that's great.
Yeah.
But the 47% that's going to the tax man, I say, keep it in there.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
Off,
yeah. Rather not have it.
Yeah.
The second thing as well is lifestyle. I believe you know my manager, Luke.
Luke's a good boy.
Yeah.
Luke Betts.
Yeah. I was going to say we'll keep the name off, but it's fine.
No, mate, he's a good boy.
He is. And he...
Do you know what I like about him?
Go on.
He's got a massive heart on him.
Yeah.
He's got a massive heart on him, and he's been so helpful to me over the years.
I don't think I would be in half the places I would without him. Yeah. I've spoken about this a lot. I see him only 1 month a year, but I talk to him every day.
Okay.
And sometimes whenever I'm having a wobble, if I was in Vegas 3 weeks ago, I woke up thinking, oh my God.
Get me a flight home.
I was looking at flights home.
Where were you?
Yeah, it was one of those.
Search,
and it was only 24 hours earlier. And I messaged him and he's like, cool, you don't do this every weekend, relax.
Yeah.
So he's the kind of guy I go to, but through business as well, he's curated a lot of moves over time.
Yeah.
But the other thing, again,
so is he your full-time manager, is he?
Yeah. So
brilliant.
He's negotiated all my book deals, done all of my events. He sits kind of as a director on all my businesses. And for me, 20% of everything I earn to have his oversight and experience is a bargain.
Worth it all day long.
Yeah.
Him and I were at the nightclub world together for years.
And he's still got 1 foot in it, but I know how much that's changed.
It's changed completely.
It's fucked. The second...
Nightclubs are fucked completely.
I worry about just culture in general.
Same.
Because growing up, universities, he was telling me that students don't
go out.
They don't go out. And if they do, they don't spend what they used to.
Yeah.
And how can, even with mass inflation, the average spend be down? Not adjusted. I think it was average like £10, £20 per person. Now it's £6.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Yeah.
And you've got to think of the impact that has. And students now going to uni, wanting to focus on academia, it was about going to uni, was leaving home, becoming independent, having fun.
Party, meet mates.
Shagging a bit.
And having fun and playing sport.
And then that can actually help you, because then when you're 23 and you're coming into a relationship or getting married or settling down, you've got your uni behind you. Yeah. You've got your skeletons buried.
Yeah.
Now, I feel if people don't have that, they get to 24, 25, married for 1 year, have a little meltdown, want to go travel the world, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's worrying.
Do you know there was 1,500 nightclubs in the UK before the pandemic?
I've seen this clip on your pod as well.
Yeah, mate. Like, there's less
How
than
many you done?
There was 500. We're probably down to about 350, 400 at the moment.
And then
every week there's 3 nightclubs going in the UK. So you think the kids coming through don't know how to party, don't know how to socialise, don't know how to chat to people, go and chat to a girl, go and chat to a boy, and just have that bonding with people. Everything's done now, flicking online left or right, whether you fancy someone or not. At the moment, students are going having cups of coffee and doing selfies and going to the gym and making themselves look good, which is fair enough as well. But if you're losing that party style, that party lifestyle while going to uni, what's the point of going to uni?
It's
uni. I understand uni. You've got to be a lawyer, or a vet, or a doctor. You understand that, but there's like 4,000 courses out there with the knowledge you've written on the end of it that kids are leaving 50 grand's worth of debt around their neck.
It's crazy for so many reasons. Like you say, the social cohesion, bonding, even for people to just drop their inhibitions and just be a different. Similar to why I went to Australia.
Yeah.
When I'm drunk on the dance floor, actually for me, drunk James never had a problem chatting to girls. Sober James couldn't imagine anything worse.
Is that right? Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
What, back then or
back then?
Now you've got misses now.
I grew out of it because I realized as I experienced some success, I had to drop alcohol for a bit. I've reintroduced it again, but there was just a few mornings where the anxiety was worse than the pleasure. So
give me an example when you've had massive anxiety of doing something the night before, I don't like using the word celebrity, but being a face, being well known. Yeah,
there's just times where what did I say? What did I do? Was I in control? That's the main thing. Yeah. Because if I say one thing to one person, I always know, I've always gone through my entire life knowing that if I got blackout drunk, even if, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was to sleep with someone, I know that James, even when he can't talk, is still polite and he's still respectful. Yeah. I know that he's still got boundaries and he appreciates other people's. So I never worried that, oh my God, was I inappropriate? Yeah. Was I touching? Never would happen. I know that, so that's fine. It was more the case that I break it down into happiness and pleasure. And pleasure for me was going out, partying, doing drugs, whatever. Happiness was going for a dip with my mates after work, having a nap in the afternoon. My mate get home who's a carpenter. Should we go for a swim at Bronte? Yeah. And me and him just playing in the waves for half an hour, getting a parking ticket, whatever. And I realized that I was less happy seeking pleasure. So I remember I woke up one day and I said to my mate, this is probably 3 years ago. I said to him, I went out with my mates last night. We went out drinking. I didn't spend too much. We got a bag in and I shagged the hot bird. Why am I so anxious and unhappy today? I'm here waking up, having to tell myself, almost looking in the mirror, you did all the things you liked to do last night and now you've woken up hating your life.
Is it because of the bag?
Could have been, probably, more than anything else. And the thing is, the stuff in Australia is probably more methamphetamine, speed, cut and other things. And it's not like a conscious decision. You get excited. I actually think sometimes people get more excited about doing it than they do actually wanting to do it. It's just about being naughty. If they legalized it, I'd probably be like, nah, I can't be asked. So I woke up one day and messaged Luke. I said, I'm not drinking anymore. He goes, ever? People are a bit like, ever? You kind of want to have a drink. He said to me, you built your brand on being a functioning alcoholic, because I did. 2018, 2019, I was, telling people to drink. It can be congruent with a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. But they got to a point where I said, I can't do it. And I did 3-4 months without drinking. And it was great, because then even as a single man, I just message girls, again, like you say on Hinge, I'm not drinking. I actually have no interest in going for a drink. I don't want to sit interview style opposite anyone. We can go for a drink. We can go for a dip in the sea. Yeah. We can go for maybe a short coastal walk, maybe 15 minutes, or we can get an ice cream. There are your three. And I was really like, I said to him, one, I don't want to waste your time, but I also don't want you wasting mine. Yeah. You have one bad date, it can write you off for 2 weeks. Whereas if we go for an ice cream, we don't vibe. You don't think I'm as nice as you think. I don't think you're as hot as you look in your pics. Whatever it is, it's done. Yeah. And then you're just the prick that went to an ice cream and never texted them back. You're not the guy that had 5 pints and tried to shag them or whatever. Yeah. So then it meant I could increase my frequency of dating to maybe like 4 or 5 people a week, so that I knew, similar to a business transaction, the more people I could meet for 15-minute interactions, the sooner I could find someone. I found my partner the same way, although she reacted to one of my stories on Instagram, and I checked out her profile and she was like an athlete. She played professional netball and professional AFL
for
the Giants in Australia. Yeah. So I was like, you look interesting. And it was probably the best thing, because she doesn't drink, party much, whatever, lives an hour south of the coast where we now both live. Yeah. But it was important for me to have that time off to reset, because I've never been the same with alcohol since. I still struggle to drink like I used to. Wine now makes me feel ill. Yeah. But when I was younger, I used to love a glass of wine. I'm now probably healthier at 35 than I was at 25. Same. And it was, big for me. It was great. But it's been an interesting few years to watch how much you change in just the space of a few years.
But even having 100 days off booze makes you feel great. You're waking up, you're losing body fat, you're feeling good, you're waking up earlier, you can train, you eat healthier. There's all these plus, not having alcohol in your body, in your system. I
did have a come to Jesus moment, though, not really, but a few months ago, I did maybe 3-4 months without boozing, just because I didn't want to booze. Yeah. And I met my business partner. He's another English lad. We run one of our fitness apps from Australia, although the most of our clients are British. And I kind of met him and I said, I'm not really doing that many things that make me happy. That sounds really harsh, but when I was broke and not successful, I had to do things to make me happy, whether it be Bournemouth Sevens, going out, seeing my mates, whatever. Then when I'm now running maybe 4 or 5 businesses and they're all performing really well, I kind of trick myself to tell me that's going to make me happy. And we took a dividend from the business, and I messaged him and I said, I felt nothing. Yeah. I felt nothing from this dividend. And I'm really concerned, because if you'd given Bournemouth Sevens James at 25 that amount of money, you would change his fucking life. So we decided to take...
And you would have blown it in a month.
Yeah.
The old James.
Fine. And he would have done it playing sevens all around the world. So we took 10% of that dividend. Yeah. We went to a bar in Sydney and we put our card behind the bar. We invited all our friends and we said, any drinks, anything you want. Lovely. Even some lad said he followed me on TikTok. I was like, how old are you? 19. I was like, get yourself a drink. These are your mates. Yeah, you're probably all poor, because I was at 19. Yeah. All of you, drinks, shots, whatever.
Lovely.
We couldn't even dent 10% of what the dividend was. Yeah. And I woke up the next day, I go, fucking hell, it's awesome. Yeah. So there's definitely this realm of being healthy, being business minded. But then sometimes I do need to remind myself that actually there is a still part component of me, my brand, myself, that does love that. And I think that becoming...
Well, you're self-made.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Yeah, same. And that is the journey we go on. And you're at a point now, I imagine, which we'll go into a bit more. If you've got 5 businesses and you're pulling a dividend in, sometimes that money doesn't actually mean anything to you. You know, once you've got your house and you've got a comfy car and you go on nice holidays, and you've got nice meals, you've got nice mates, you've got a nice missus, a nice kid, that's all you're after. It's amazing how it changes, isn't it? What are you now, 30?
35.
35, yeah.
But I get sick of myself now, where I remember the first time I flew business class, I was emotional. Sat there, I felt like I'd won it. It was really weird.
Where were you going?
Back home from Australia.
Okay.
So I remember it was Etihad. It was actually, I did first before business because we had a good month and I was a fucking idiot. I didn't even expense it back then. Yeah. I just thought you paid for it with post-tax money. And I might have to go back and get them receipts. And I had to come down. So that was it as well.
Yeah.
That was the second time I went to Ultra Europe. And I was at home and I was like, I can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't go back.
Where is Ultra Europe?
Croatia.
Croatia, okay.
It's Split. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because of the crowd as well. Yeah. So if you go to...
Older crowd? Mid-20s?
Just disperse. You see Croatian flags, English flags, American flags. So everyone's kind of on a Europe trip.
Yeah.
Whereas when I've done Ultra Miami, everyone's in their university cliques.
Okay.
One of the hardest places to try and find MDMA in the world was Miami.
Yeah.
I had to go on 3 nights out just to make friends, just so we could find some. But then again, I was only 21, 22 and they call it Molly, which I did not know until night 3. So yeah, love that. And I remember the flying, first time I flew, I was having a few glasses of wine and I was thinking, wow, I feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like I've won it. I feel like I've been upgraded. Then there was another time that I flew back to the UK. And as I got off the plane, I was kind of really disappointed in myself. I was like, that was just normal to you. Don't be a prick. Because it used to be so much. Same where, you know, buying, let's say, a car. To be fair, cars are actually the one where I said to myself, let's be sensible. Just have a sensible driver. I had a Golf R and I was like, you're just being a prick. You just want something fancy. And I said to myself, you actually want to feed your ego a bit. You just want to show off to people that you're doing as well as you potentially are because you don't flaunt it. And sometimes a car is a really good way of doing that. Yeah. And there was part of me inside that was thinking, do you just want a 16-year-old at a petrol station to go, nice car, mate? And I was like, I probably do. And I was like, do you know what? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I got an Audi RS6, which is the best balance of amazing car and not being a dickhead.
Yeah.
So brilliant. But one thing I didn't realize is how much it continuously makes me happy.
Oh, it continuously does.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice
I was really surprised where I kind of bought it and I was like, look, if you're bored of it after 3 months, take it back. If you're bored of it, whatever. Every time I get in it, I go, oh, this makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And now I've realized that I'm actually into my cars more than I realized because I actually have been through my broke 5, 6, 7 years starting out as a PT. I think I gaslit myself to say I wasn't into cars. I love Top Gear. Have you seen a guy on YouTube called Matt Armstrong? Oh my God. Have you lads? Yeah. He's on. So he buys crash damaged cars, whether it's McLarens, Aston Martins. He did Marcus Rashford's Rolls Royce Wraith and him and his dad do them up, but he fixes them. It makes no sense from an insurance standpoint to do them up because it's his labor and he's buying the parts and he dramatizes it on YouTube. He gets 1 to 2 million views in the first 12 hours.
Is that right?
He this year has exploded and he's real smart where he makes the episodes to be 1 hour episodes. So the retention editing on it is to be designed for 1 hour and the retention is crazy, story arcs, everything. But then he bolts them all together and puts them on his second channel. So there'll be a 4-hour video of the full Aston Martin build and they'll have 19 million views. And the reason is because the average view duration on them is so high.
Yeah.
So when I was feeding my son when he was a baby, I don't want to watch something that's 12 minutes because the second that clip finishes, I need something else.
Yeah.
So I'm much more likely to watch something, a full episode of a podcast, not a clip. So I would put the full build on and then I would pause it, go away, feed 3-4 hours later, come back, resume. I did 2.5 hours of watching his channel, one video in one day. And YouTube sees that, scores average view duration really highly.
What's a good view duration, do you think, on YouTube?
I think it's
minutes wise
the best possible. And if it's over multiple clips, it's scored the same. So if someone watches one of your clips and then goes to another one, then another one, if they do 3 12-minute clips, they get 36-minute view time.
Is that how it works, is it?
That's why people set up binge effects using end cards. So, you know, some channels...
So at the end, it goes, click here if you want to watch more of this one. Okay.
And the really good creators, they use a hook in the beginning of their video. So hooks are more prevalent on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, because people aren't clicking a video, they're just scrolling. So you scroll and someone goes, this is the best... have you heard of the biggest rugby tournament in the world that has over 500 teams that come here to party over this weekend? Your instinct is, no, I haven't. So then the inquisitive part of your brain stays.
Oh, okay.
The hooks we use in fitness could be a visual hook, like this is 500 calories of popcorn. This is 500 calories of lettuce. Then we have question hooks that could be like, is it possible to lose 9 kilograms of fat in 7 days? We are creating and posing a question as the very first thing in the video to get people to stay, because their habits are swipe, 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 swipe.
Yeah.
We still need a strong introduction, maybe not so much a hook in YouTube content, because in YouTube, the hook is really the title and thumbnail.
Yeah.
And what we need to do in the introduction to YouTube is get some form of payoff. So if you were to say, as a title, I don't know, how this entrepreneur made $10 million in his first 3 years, you could start with a hook that pays off the title. You could look down the camera and be like, is it possible to make $10 million across 3 years within a fitness business? How long would it take to do? How many staff would you need? And what would the downsides of this be?
Brilliant.
And what you're doing is you're allowing the person that's clicked on your video to understand exactly what answers they're going to get. And you've told them exactly in 10 seconds. You're almost giving them the opportunity to leave, which actually helps them retain. Then at the end of the video, you can just close off the video and say, and for more about this, click here. Carwow do it really well with Matt, whatever his name is, where they go, oh, and if you've seen the video of the BMW M40i, click this up here. But the best thing you can do at the end of a video is to create another hook. So let's say you did the video about a fitness business doing 10 million. You could say, and is it possible to make the same amount of revenue within the motor industry? Well, if you want to find out how you could do that and it would only take 2 years, then click this here.
So at the end of that initial video, you're then coming in with another hook. Just another hook from the screen that you've added to the back of that video to link them to that one.
Because most YouTube titles work through posing a question that people need the answers for. That's the best way to get a click. And the title and thumbnail have to work in unison to create that inquisitive part in their mind for them to get the answer through clicking or through previewing. Yeah. So a lot of the time when we see something on YouTube and we think, I wonder if we pause over that thumbnail for long enough, it'll just start playing the first 10 seconds or a preview of the clip that would perform better. And if in your preview, you then start with the answers or the questions that they're thinking about, they go, this is the video for me, click.
I love that. It's just giving them the answers to hook them in.
And the introduction, I think that's where you need the most B-roll, the most effort. You see this a lot in podcasts with the trailers where they put that at the beginning.
Because we do a 60-second trailer, which you know.
Which is another type of hook by showing them what's to come.
Yeah.
So the statement hook, preview hook, question hook, all of these are just ways of people understanding what's to come. Because if you go straight in, and again, Chris Williamson's good with this, where instead of playing into that game, he just starts with a question. So no introduction, no welcome. He'll have his iPad there and go, Almost Sevens. How much has that made you over the last 10 years? And then people go, oh, how much has that made me over the last?
Okay.
And by coming in with that statement or that question, he actually probably asks his number one question straight away.
Okay.
And also Chris, I think, I can't tell you for sure, as he starts a podcast, he has the videos he wants already lined up.
Is that right?
So if he's probably already strategized, say he's got David Goggins in front of him, his YouTube team will go, we think these 10 videos will do the best. This is the question you need to ask him for us to get that video.
Wow.
So when you get, okay, what does mindset mean to you, David Goggins? Then they've probably already got the thumbnail collected.
Already done already.
And I'm pretty sure that David Goggins is the trailer on Chris's channel as far as the video that's presented to you, because it potentially has the highest subscriber rate or highest average view duration of your videos. So when you go through your analytics on YouTube, you can see which one of all of your clips gets you the most followers per view. That would make sense to have as a channel trailer. Right. Because then you know that if they end up becoming inquisitive and clicking that, they're more likely to go into your channel. I've been studying YouTube the last few years. I love it. Amazing. That's amazing content to hear. What are your thoughts on like long form? We do long form content and then we do like short form, which is like just over a minute or roughly a minute. We've never got into the 10-minute short form, 10-minute sort of medium form. What are your thoughts on those 10-minuters? So what Chris does really well, which I've kind of observed from the outside, is he will do a 10-minuter before the full episode. So what's easier to sell to someone? 90 minutes of us chatting or 10 minutes of us chatting? Yeah. So it doesn't even need to be edited at all, but you could then, the day before releasing the full episode, create a clip from this podcast of potentially what was your favorite moment and use that to spearhead the full episode. Whatever you think could be packaged the easiest, whether it's something controversial I've said, a question that was posed, something that might be, I think he did one with Brett Weinstein recently, is America heading towards a civil war? What a great thing to package up. Yeah. Packaging a 90-minute conversation as that might be a bit uncouth, but to take a 10-minute segment from it and to package it as that is a great idea. So then if that then gets, 300,000 views in 12 hours because it's a very volatile, well-packaged 10-minute piece of information, a lot of people will finish that and go, fuck, I can't wait to listen to the whole thing. Okay. Whereas if you just drop the whole episode, it's a bit more difficult to do. So I think you don't want to wait too far, because if you show me a clip of Brett talking, then a week till the episode, that emotion in my mind's gone. But if you show me that the day before, I think it's something for you guys definitely to try out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because then you can have a clip that is going to probably algorithmically be scored a lot better just because it's more clickable. And also the duration of a video does impact its click-through rate. Yeah. Because even if I look at something, I go, oh, I've seen that guy a few times before, but I'm not sure if I want to listen to him. Oh, it's only 10 minutes. I'll give it a go. It's like a preview, or a mixture between a trailer and anything else. And it allows you to get into the nuts and bolts, because I think we're moving away now from the last 2 years. We've seen very short content, very overly edited, a lot of, chop, change, swish, this, that. And people are like, oh, mate, fuck off with that. And I think we're now going to move into, I foresee longer format content coming back. I've actually started a smaller YouTube channel. So I grew my YouTube to about 450,000. Yeah. Then when we released Neutonic, there were so many people calling me a sellout in the comments.
Why?
Because they don't understand business.
Yeah, okay.
I think mainly.
Are they calling you a sellout because of bringing out the drink?
Yeah. That's
just another business, right?
Oh, mate, you fucking sold out. And the problem was me. I'd optimized my content just to grow my YouTube. I actually think I was using my YouTube as a way to prove to people I understood the platform.
Okay.
So I would see a trend or a niche. I go, this is going to bang. I would actually think up a title and thumbnail. I go, oh, this is going to do great. I actually wanted to do a video on electrolytes. I don't feel like electrolytes get the love they deserve. Yeah. I'm looking around. I saw a bottle of Prime. I was like, perfect. I'm going to use this as a scapegoat to talk about electrolytes. So I did a video maybe a year and a half ago. Is this Logan Paul's most profitable scam yet? And I had the bottle of Prime. I'm blurred out in it because the video is not about me. It's about his bottle. Yeah. Did like 3.8 million views. So it grossed probably, I think, like £15,000. It brought in maybe 50,000 new subscribers. But then I've brought in these followers off the back of tearing a product down. They're a subprime audience, similar to what we saw in the financial housing crisis. To make things look good, you pull together things that are suboptimal and package them to look good. And that's what it sounds really bad. I'm not saying this about all my YouTube subscribers, but maybe even 10, 20% of those are not the right people for my business. And what I did, I made the big problem was I tried to be famous instead of business minded. And I tried to do it because I was after a vanity metric. You got your silver play button, right? Is it in here?
Yeah, just behind yeah.
And there's a part of you that goes, cool, let's get the fucking gold play button. Yeah. Let's go. And I didn't realize that on the road to doing so, I'd let a lot of poison into the camp. So that when it did come to bringing out projects, I think at the time I was about £500,000 into the project.
What project? This one?
Yeah. So
have you invested £500,000 into this?
Yeah. So we've
between the two of you
self-funded. That's just my part. So we've self-funded everything, and we need hundreds and thousands of cans to be produced in multiple territories, USA, UK. And then even when we start getting into production, we fucked up again this week. We're sold out of 2 flavors, which should not be happening a year in. And even we're sitting on, I was on a call for 2 hours the other day. Why did we not foresee that tropical was outselling citrus? And why didn't we make those changes? We've even had something this week, which we'll get onto in a bit, about TikTok Shop, where we didn't realize how big TikTok Shop is with young people.
How big?
Millions.
Massive.
Millions of units.
Okay.
And we'll get back into the subprime audience bit in a second. But so with this...
give me an example what subprime audience means.
Growing to size, vanity metrics of audience. So rather than having 300,000 fucking awesome fans, trying to get 600,000 because it looks better on paper.
Okay.
The fact that maybe I might say, someone might be doing YouTube, or let's say TV, media. Oh, James Smith bringing out a new book. Oh, he's got 1 million YouTube subscribers. Get him on.
Okay.
Because they use the vanity metrics. They don't care about the size they don't care about the quality of the audience. They care about the size. Whereas another great thing was a mate of mine now, a guy in the fitness industry in Australia. He's got an audience, maybe a quarter of mine, and he's doing about £800,000 a month every month
from
one fitness app.
My God.
It's got 2 Lambos.
My God.
And I was like, this guy didn't optimize for size. He optimized for density.
Okay.
And it kind of made me realize as to why, I started a new YouTube channel. It's got 8,000 subscribers.
And what's that called?
Just James Smith as well.
Just James Smith. You have a YouTube channel, James Smith Podcast.
No. So I've got that one as well.
Okay.
So I've now got 2 channels called James Smith.
Yeah.
One talks about fitness, one talks about business.
Okay.
So I didn't need to publicize it, didn't need to do whatever. But what I couldn't have was YouTube becoming confused about who my audience was. Golden rule of YouTube is, if I click on your profile, I should know what it is you do and what big problem you solve.
Okay.
Now, if I'm going to talk about athletic greens, prime, how to lose fat, and then there's something talking about how to optimize landing pages for conversions.
Yeah. Confusing, right?
Confusing.
Yeah.
And also YouTube's kind of like, what the fuck? Who's this for? So I created a smaller YouTube, 8,000 subscribers, and that's making me more money than the big channel by a lot. That'd be better cold, but what do you think of the taste?
That is actually lovely.
So
what flavour is that? That's the tropical ice.
It's kind of trying to beat White Monster. Imagine White Monster mixed with Umbongo.
That's a great combo, isn't it?
When I tasted it, I was like,
that's actually really, really nice. How long did it take to create this brand? And why have you called it Neutonic?
Nootropics and tonic. Tonic relates to drink. Nootropics are the ingredients in it. So we sat through calls for fucking ages. And Chris being in Texas, the time zones are dog shit. So to begin with, there's let's hold the conversation with this one about Neutonic. Let's carry on with that one because I'm really intrigued about your two different brands on YouTube, one for business and one for your training and nutrition, etc. So business one, why were you more excited? Why were you so excited about creating a new channel? So for 10 years, I've been running a fitness business. But then as of 2017 in July, I stepped away from doing the programming to run the business. So since then, I've done every email marketing campaign myself. I've done all the videos for landing pages. My business partner's done all the web design, all the work with, it's just him and I. Yeah. And our business is arguably smaller, but less complex because of that. Yeah. We do 7 figures every year for 8 years. We will never see an 8-figure year, and that's fine because we love our business, how it looks.
Keep it as a lifestyle business. If you want to get 10 million plus, you're going to have to be employing 3, 4, 5, 6 more people. You might not want the headache of it.
Even more because the coaching standpoint, we probably need 60 or 70 staff. Yeah. So we have
is that what you think it would be?
That's what
is that what the other
friends?
Yeah. Okay, he's
60
doing.
staff.
Okay.
And
you don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. And after a while, when I saw his Lambos, I could see he was a little bit bored of the Urus. Yeah. When you're a bit young to be getting bored of a Urus, but I still love him anyway.
Who is it?
His name's Adam Sullivan.
He's based in Oz or England.
In Oz.
Okay.
And I had him blocked for 4 years because I thought he was a.
Did you block him? Did you? Are you pals with him now?
Yeah, okay. I actually unblocked him and I said to him,
why
to his face,
did you? Oh, go on. Yeah.
I said that was a me problem, not a you problem. Oh, I think I was seeing someone else do well, and it wasn't motivating me for the first time because our businesses were so similar.
Did you think he was eating away at your business?
Yeah, I think I was just bitter.
Okay.
I was just bitter seeing his success.
Well done for admitting that.
Yeah, and it helped me by realizing that. And I think 2 years ago I wouldn't have admitted that.
Okay.
And now I kind
of powerful, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. I champion him. I want him to do well. Yeah. And I actually realized there was a part of me that thought it could have been fluke. And after talking to him, I can tell he actually really cares about his business. Not that I don't.
How old is he?
33, 34.
Okay. He's smashing it, isn't he?
And he was a PT in a gym for 9 years. Yeah. So he did a longer stint than me. So it's like fair play. And for the last, since 2017, give or take 7 years, I've not actually been a PT or a coach. I've been a marketing department of a business where
like a CMO.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a terrible director. I'm a terrible CEO. Most people I've hired have left. Yeah. Someone even just left Neutonic this morning. I said I did one fucking call with her. That was it. She's gone. So I'm plagued. One of my publishers, we didn't start writing the book, but he's gone. And I think the second I got a room, I've got empty desks in my office. I've tried hiring people. They leave.
Why do you think?
I'm not very good at managing people.
Okay.
I like managing myself. Yeah. I fucking hate phone calls. I don't like talking to people unless it's constructive. Yeah. I just want to do my own stuff. And it's probably because I've given myself too much to do that whatever, but I just don't want to be managing people. Yeah. It stresses me out. I'm stressed enough doing myself. So
I hear you. I hear you, man. I'm the same.
And then you think, hold on, I haven't heard from this person in 3 weeks. Are they just taking my fucking money and doing nothing with it? And then is that their fault or is that mine? Yeah. And then when you realize it's your fault, it's harder to swallow. Yeah. So I've been doing, email marketing, social media. In essence, I've just become an expert at sending people to URLs, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, any domain. That's my job. Because once they go to the URL, I should have curated a landing page that's good enough to make most of them. Just
to roll back a little bit there, how are you getting people to get to a URL? For example, on what social media platforms you'd be using? You're using Facebook, Instagram. Thing is on Insta, you can't put a link. You're going to say, go to my bio, and then there's like 7 things to go. It just takes longer and it's more of a headache and people get lost in that, is there?
Of course.
Yeah.
So I have a 5-step process where I'd say you've got brand and awareness at the top and social media being there. Then I would say you need some form of squeeze or lead magnet running. And then after that, you need an email marketing platform. we saw Instagram broadcasts, WhatsApp broadcasts, Telegram. I don't think any of them have held the weight to what email marketing can be. Then you need a landing page and then hopefully a sale at the bottom. Now, for each platform, it should be a little bit different. One thing I've seen in the last year on Instagram is the use of chatbots, which I used to hate.
Yeah.
When I saw someone say, DM me the word coach, I'm like, shut up, mate.
Yeah.
You fucking look shit.
Yeah.
Then I used one, and I think I got maybe even last week, I used a carousel posts where you curate loads of pictures. If you put a bit of text on them, you can take someone through a different story arc.
Okay.
So in a reel, you have to have a hook, setup, payoff, outro, and you can change how that looks, but you kind of need to put some effort into it.
Yeah.
Where I was sleep deprived, baby hadn't fucking slept, I'm knackered, no way I'm going in front of a camera, I've got no voice. I picked 10 photos to go into a carousel where I actually used the emotions I was feeling about being knackered from a baby and not posting as much as I would. I said, join my email list and I'll add you to a curated autoresponder. I'll explain what that is in a second.
Yeah.
And it will help you with fitness and fat loss. I've got 3,800 email addresses from a post that took me 14 minutes to put together walking the dog. So we can use carousels to convert our existing audience. We can use reels to convert cold audiences. However, they're going to be a lot harder to convert because they're cold. Also, like you say, people are scrolling. They don't want to go to your link in bio. Giving them a prompt of a DM means that you can send them the link and it's in their inbox. So even if they're doing something, they can come back to it later. They're much more likely to go into their inbox, look at 2 messages and see yours fall below and go, oh, fuck, I forgot to click on that.
Yeah.
Also, the fact you DM them, when you tell someone to click the link in your bio, it makes it feel like you're working for them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't fucking work for you. I'm not clicking on your link. Yeah. And then if they get to a link tree, they might get analysis paralysis. If you've got 6 links, fuck this, I'm off.
Yeah.
So the chatbots are quite good. Some people comment just to see if it works. Yeah. You can set it up so any comment gets a DM. And on Facebook, I use this. We're going to get quite deep into this, but this is interesting. I use a company now to repurpose mild content and they get 30% for the ad revenue. So this company now goes through all of my YouTube archives, all of my previous content. They rip the clip, optimize it for monetization, repost it on my behalf, sometimes 3 posts a day. And they want those posts to go viral because they get 1/3 of the revenue. So since hiring them, my Facebook weekly rev's gone from $1,000 US to about 5,000.
Is that right?
And they're getting 2K of that.
Amazing.
3K.
Win-win.
Yeah. Happy days.
Amazing.
But I've also set up a chatbot. So every single person that comments gets a DM from me asking them to join my email list. So I'm passively growing an email list.
This is genius, by the way, mate.
Thank you.
It really is. Like just seeing your passion in your eyes.
Yeah,
You've just nailed something, and you know it inside out, and no one can get in the way of it.
And
you own if it gets to an email, you own that email. Like you don't own it, but that's yours. No one can take it away from you.
And if you can establish your authority very early on, your clips will do so well online as well because of your technical setup. We've both got a bit of Rembrandt lighting on us. We've got 3 cameras. I think that's a ZV-10. That's a Shure SM7B. You know, like everything's done properly. You got your backdrop. So because of that, you're an established authority because your setup is professional.
Yeah.
Whereas some podcasts that are filmed on iPhone, straight away you've lost that authority.
Yeah.
And
do you think I should be doing stuff like this?
Well, you're doing well already with what you're doing. As far as in the business space?
No, I'm talking about like, we're at a point now where the lads are putting me out. I spoke in a theatre last week. I've spoke at a festival the other week on stage, and I've always been, no, I'm not going to speak. I'm speaking, and people are loving it because it's real. I've been there, got the T-shirt about business, and set up and built 5 businesses over the last 25 years, and built festivals and brands and podcasting, and got an online events course. But I've never really put myself out there. But I'm starting to do it, and people are loving it because it's a real person telling you about real business and what to do and what not to do, rather than someone reading from a book and going, well, this is what I studied for. I haven't studied anything. I've just done business from a young kid.
I think as well, you will have acquired some diehard podcast listeners on the way because we're in this attention economy where someone will become disgruntled with a podcast they listen to. Maybe they put too many ads in it. Then they'll give yours a go. And then before you know it, you've acquired them. And almost them tuning into your podcast when it's released is a form of retention within the business. After spending hours in front of you, I think also it becomes people want to know what you're like in real life because you are still quite polished in studio. And if you make a mistake, they can edit it out. Yeah. There's the law of reciprocity where you've given so many hours of your time to help educate people and also just give up time in your life that could be spent on more profitable ventures, I'm sure. Yeah. And 3, for some people, I think if you're an inspiration, some people, being in the room with them can really make a difference. I only really felt this recently where I went to see Andrew Schultz live. Do you know Andrew Schultz? American comedian from New York. He was, so I've been to some events before, been to see some people in the, let's say, podcast creator space do events. And I've never really been that impressed.
Yeah.
I left Andrew Schultz and went, wow, I'm leagues below where I need to be. He was in a room with 8,000 people. Most I've ever had at a talk is 3,500, which is still incredible. But I saw the next level.
Yeah.
And I was 150 meters away from him, and he was inspiring me from a distance in a seat. And I got to meet him afterwards. Amazing guy.
Why was he inspiring? Is he a businessman?
No, he's a comedian.
Just a pure comedian, but inspired you away how he held the room?
How he held the room,
yeah.
his effort, his demeanor. Also, he had, and I know a lot of comedians do this, he had learnt the audience before he came out. So he came out and cracked jokes about Bondi. Yeah. He knew where the Jewish people lived in the community.
Okay. So
he knew everything.
Okay, yeah, clever.
And he'd only been in the country 2 days. So he must have sat down with an Australian and been like, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this. And he was able to not only perform his set, but jokes that were specific to the audience. And I've tried doing that before a little bit, but the way he went into it, I knew what he was doing, but it still worked. I was like, what a legend.
Yeah.
And I left that thinking, okay, I don't obviously want to be at that level, but I could see where I was and I could see where he is. And I was like, if I can just start working towards that a little bit, because I'm certainly not going to be stagnated if I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
Same way that with that PT that I blocked for 4 years, Adam, hanging out with him has spurred me on.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, not often with Luke around, you can be the high earner in your group and it can slow you down a bit. Whereas we're in Ibiza a couple of weeks ago and I think there was maybe 15 of us drinking around the table, and I went to go pay the bill and he turns around and just goes, too slow.
What Luke did?
No, this Aussie guy.
The Aussie guy did it.
He goes, too slow. Mate. I've already paid it. And then on the last night, I was like, okay, I'm going to get him. And then I go up towards it and he's there on the dance floor. He goes, too slow again. And then he looks to a group of girls on the table next to us and go, and fuck your bill. I paid it to these girls on the table next to us. And I was like, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. So I like that. He bought a Lamborghini STO. And I said to him, I was like, how much was that? He goes, $800,000, £400,000. He goes, yeah, don't know if I needed that. He goes, I scraped the underside of it already. So it hasn't got parking cameras on it. It hasn't got parking sensors. £400,000 car. I tell you what's fucked about Australia. We have luxury car tax. So after a certain amount of money, I think it might be £40,000, £50,000, there is a surcharge per dollar that goes in luxury car tax. So when I was looking to get the RS6, if you get it 2 years old, you don't have to pay it. But I would have paid £25,000 more getting it from the dealership that just goes to the government in luxury car tax.
Right.
If you can afford this car, we're going to tax you more.
Yeah.
So when you look at Porsche 911s or any real quality performance car, you're looking at a levy of maybe £50,000 to £100,000 more, which is just a piss take.
Oh, it's a proper piss take.
Because you're like, I've earned this money to then make it liquid by paying obscene amounts of cash.
Getting taxed again, yeah.
It kills me off. Sometimes I like Dubai. I couldn't live there.
I couldn't live there.
But with the tax rates,
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you think, but for a year, or I think.
How much could you save in a year if you weren't there? What's it now? It used to be 0%. They've added
9%.
It's 9% now, isn't it? But back here, I'm paying 50% on everything.
Not to mention that with the liquid you pull out, you then got, if you buy a property, you got to pay stamp duty. If you sell it, you got to pay capital gains. With money that
you haven't got to pay capital gains if it's your own property.
No, but if it was an investment.
Investment property, yeah. But they're saying at the moment, I don't know when this is going to go out, but they're saying that they could do capital gains on your own property. And that would be a killer.
And they're thinking of unrealized gains. Yeah. Someone said something, I don't know if that could happen.
No.
But you're just killing the entrepreneurial spirit in some sense. And I think that's dangerous because in the UK, we've already got a really hindered entrepreneurial experience. So with the drink, when we released it and people saying you've sold out, in America, people would have gone, yo, bro, that's amazing, fucking awesome.
Well done. Yeah.
I don't even drink fizzy drinks, but I'm going to buy some. Yeah. Where in the UK, I saw a stat that the UK produces, it was George Mack on Chris Williamson podcast, 5 times less comedians. So if we look at the population as a whole, we produce the same amount of well-educated men and women at the same kind of levels as the US, but the US produce 5 times more comedians. And George Mack makes the point where he goes, the funniest man in the UK is probably working in a steelworks factory in Leeds or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas in America, you say you want to be a comedian, your friends are like, we'll come support you, we'll come watch. Where in the UK, you go, hey guys, I used to drink a can of White Monster with 4 pills in the morning. I've seen a gap in the market. I'm going for it. This could pay off my parents' mortgage. People are like, you fucking sell out. And there are some people in the creator space who've done well. Maybe I always reference Chunks, one of the lads, massive on social media. He did a Pringles advert and I'll never forget the comments all saying, get that money, get that cash. every one of his followers, because that's a non-subprime audience. That's a prime audience where he's been real to himself on social media, whatever, to the point that when he blows up, his audience go, I'm commenting because I want you to get that money. Whereas sometimes if you're a white male from Berkshire, you don't get the privilege of that.
Have you noticed anyone around you have envy and jealousy over the years?
Not really. No, because you kind of phase those people out. And if anything, there were the first few years when it started popping off.
What year did it start popping? You went to Australia 2017. What year do you think?
2017, 2018.
2018. And then what was the time? Like when we went out in Bournemouth, you get mobbed everywhere. Did you find that still happens when you come over to England? Like people clock you straight away? Yeah,
and do you know what? I was thinking this on the drive down, actually. I can't really take MDMA anymore because when I could usually take it, I could just be invisible in the crowd. And MDMA is like a 3-hour trip with hopefully only one trip to the toilet and maybe 4 bottles of water. And I miss the days of just doing a pill in the middle of the dance floor. And then you bump shoulders with someone. Oh, you're right. Yeah, cool. I remember maybe even at Bournemouth Sevens, there was a girl and boy next to me and they'd run out of water and I had a spare bottle. I was like, just have it. I felt like I'd connected with them because they were dancing next to me for an hour. And that's gone because even in Ibiza, it's crazy. People are, oh, James, say, oh, you're the guy from Facebook. Oh, you're the... And I don't ever want to be, caught on camera gurning or like having a good time or, when your eyes roll into the back of your head. So I miss MDMA. I was really thinking about it on the way down because the drive here is just reminiscent.
Memories.
So I miss that. A little bit. Sometimes when people are drunk, their inhibitions drop. So the second you're in an environment where people are drinking, that little bit of courage they needed to say hello is gone. So they're like, oh, and it's great. And I would say almost every single interaction is positive. I've had maybe 2 where someone's just rude. And
just what? Completely rude?
One guy, a few months ago, I was in Double Bay in Sydney. He's like, oh, you're a bit of an arsehole online, aren't you?
Well, he just come up to you.
Just said that. I was walking into a pub and I went, okay. And out of this interaction now, which one of us being an arsehole? He goes, me. I was like, do you think it's fair to say that to someone you don't know? He goes, probably not. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And I just come from a 2-hour sparring session of jiu-jitsu.
You were ready.
No, but the thing is, I actually would never. I would never. But I was thinking, if that's the way that you're brought up, because I actually, I was in the Four Seasons in Hampshire yesterday, and Luke was saying that last time he was in there, he saw Joe Wicks. And I already preconceived, if I saw him, I'd go up to him, shake his hand, and I'd probably say, no hard feelings. I had nothing when I started ripping into you. I needed an enemy. Every hero needs a villain. And he was making $1 million a month. He's fine. And I actually already thought in my head that even the person that people think that I hate the most, I would go over to and kind of just say, look, mate, no hard feelings. Hope you're having a good time. There would never be any animosity. So for a stranger to have animosity to someone they've never met, he's obviously dealing with something.
He's got his own stuff going.
Yeah.
They all have. If there's a problem, if someone's piping up and being rude for no reason.
But then sometimes I do think, it'd be nice if there was throwdown one day. I'd love to see how well it works in real life. But then you could just put them to sleep and just back out. But
Tell me about your relationship with Diran.
Yeah, he's interestingly enough. Yeah, he was in the same fitness first I joined. And out of those 32 PTs, I would say he was the only one that went out his way on the first day to be, it wasn't even that was English. He just said, do you want to go for a coffee? And it was
this was out in Oz, was it?
Yeah.
So he was out in Oz, was he?
He was okay. He won't mind me saying this. He was engaged
to
an Australian girl he met when he was 16. He was maybe 25 at the time. He was living out west in Sydney, which is probably the equivalent of, living in Uxbridge and having to commute to Shoreditch every day. You're not getting the best deal. And it might sound harsh, but she seemed quite closed-minded. She wanted to settle down, have a family, live near her parents. He had bigger aspirations, and I could sense that very early on. And we'd sit down, we'd talk about business. And I remember saying to him, I've got 12 clients that pay £55 a week. And he goes, what are you doing here? It's my first day in the gym. He was like, everyone in here wants what you have. And you're coming in? He was like, you're fucking mental. Piss off, go travel the world, live your life. Don't spend it in here. And
so he egged you on, did he?
Yeah, and I told him everything. I said, this is the email marketing. He goes, no, I've read your emails for 7 months, or 7 days, sorry. This is what I do. I would have to, a good time to go live was about 7 or 8 in the morning, which made it 8 or 9 p.m. in the UK. So I would have my morning client. I didn't have many at the time. I'd go up, I'd set up a tripod in the courtyard and do a live Q&A because I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a laptop that could, really edit on. The only thing I got to 50,000 followers pretty much doing live videos.
On what? Facebook?
On Facebook.
Okay.
So landscape, phone on a tripod. I would do a live Q&A in the morning, 5, 6, 7 a.m.
About what?
anything they had questions for.
So they would fire all the questions before you got there?
No,
while you're there?
Do it live.
We'll just go live. Any questions?
Any questions. Okay. I would make up the first 5. Yeah. So I'd have them on my notes so that I'd say, oh, some of you have sent me some questions. They hadn't sent anything. I made that up. I just picked 5 questions I could ask. So while I nervously waited for people to join the live and for people to build the confidence to ask questions, I would just ramble on 5 topics that I pretended people had asked.
While people are coming in.
Because then that video is saved. So then people, when they come to it, rather than me going, hey guys, just waiting for more people to come, form of hook that I was using was premeditated questions. And I remember once, it was about 11 or 12 of the PTs openly mocking me while I was doing the live. They're all sat there having breakfast, like, oh, look at this fucking idiot. And Darren came round, and I think there was like 400 people on, and he was like, fair play.
Yeah.
And when I finished the live, he goes, 400 people, what do you do now? I said, I try and get them into my PT business. He was like, smart.
Yeah.
So Darren was my first hire, came on as a coach, and I openly said to him, you're not going to be here long, because he had big aspirations, and he left after about 10 months.
Yeah.
But he was fundamental.
An easy leave.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, mate, you go, I'll do my thing, you do your thing. And did he go away and take that kind of business model and want to do it himself?
And
okay. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I still would help him to this day, because ultimately, we joke about this. Whoever's making the most is buying dinner.
Yeah.
So he's just blown up in Turkey. Luke's been telling him for years to be doing Turkish content because it's his first language. Yeah. In 300 posts, he grew his Instagram to 1 million followers. 300. Fucking insane.
That is insane.
His email
by speaking Turkish to a Turkish audience? Or?
Same videos, just in Turkish.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Luke first told him in 2019. He just started. His email list in Turkey is 450,000. So he's still getting to that point where he used it in an English way, has a business, has a successful business now. Even sometimes he can get annoyed that it's not the scale that he wants. But I need to remind him.
Stop and take a look in and look how successful you've been. Yeah.
And look at the reality.
Yeah.
I said to him, you haven't been to work in like 6 years, bro.
Yeah.
Like you haven't gone, you still fly business class, you travel around. Maybe you still drive a Golf R, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I was at 34, relax. But now I want his Turkish to do well so he can get more dinners.
Yeah.
I'll help him with anything he wants. Anything he wants, bro. And I say to him, like, I'll buy dinner. He'll always offer to buy dinner. I'll go, now I'll get this. But when you start earning more than me, I'm paying for shit.
Yeah.
That's why I want people to do well, for the same reason.
Same. I love seeing people do well. I get a buzz from seeing people do well.
It's the same as why I'm fully laying out all my business plans and tactics. One of which
So what you're saying here is, this is what I do. If you want to come and do it, come on my course and take a look. It's dead cheap. Bam. I'll teach you how to do it.
And on YouTube, I give so much for free because I'm under the impression that if I can get 10,000 views on a video, I only need 200 of them to be interested in my program.
Yeah.
And then if 10% of them buy, it's 20 grand.
Yeah.
So to make a 2-hour long video, that's fine.
Yeah.
I do not have the capacity to take on the full amount of people watching. And I think there's a law that if you can help a big cohort of people, even if just 2%, if they join your program through law of reciprocity or whatever it is, and also 2% of those go, fuck me, if I paid this guy, this could
tell me even more.
We take creatine because it can make us 7 to 8% stronger.
Yeah.
So if you could benefit your business by 7 to 8%, it's going to cover $1,000 US, which is a business write-off anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm fully transparent with that. And again, so the chatbots are working.
Yeah.
I tell Darren about it. 3 months later, he goes, oi, look at this. He set up a chatbot where you give someone the prompt, DM me the word coach. Then he waits.
You get them to DM you. They don't just. They
can comment. You can DM. They can click on an ad. Anything you want.
Okay.
So you get to.
Is this Insta or Facebook?
Both.
You do both. Okay.
So you go onto the ManyChat website and you integrate it with your social media platforms. I'm pretty sure they're now a Meta partner.
Yeah.
So it's not dodgy.
Yeah.
So Darren goes, look at this. He goes, get them to send you the prompt. Then wait 15 seconds. Then respond to them saying, hold on 1 second. Then 15 seconds later, I go back again saying, just 1 sec. Sorry. Then 20 seconds later, I send them a personalized video of me getting into a booth at the office. Sorry about that. Basically, over the next 12 weeks, we're doing this Fat Loss Challenge. I'd love you to be a part of it. There's a full money back guarantee. Click the link. I'll put it below. You can join.
Genius.
And if I had kept my cards close to my chest, he wouldn't have started using it and he wouldn't have taught me a way to do it better.
Okay.
So that's really integral and important because if I don't tell him my trade secrets, I'm not going to get his.
Yeah.
I then went away.
Did you actually record that, or is that a recording used for everyone?
Recording used for everyone.
Oh,
so you can create a sequence of as many messages as you want. If it's a DM, you can put pauses in, links. You can ask them questions. You can integrate AI to understand their answer. You can send, I don't use very complex.
So you're like, just for the listener, you're laying all this out without you touching anything, going, right, if someone sends me a DM, I want them in 15 seconds say, wait a sec. Next one, next one is going to be a video, and it's all laid on.
Anyone on any of my platforms DMs the word calculator or comments the word calculator, they'll get sent a link to my calorie calculator. And even now, I reckon if I was to look, I haven't done any of these in a while, but let's say I go to my Instagram and I go to the general tab.
Yeah.
There should be some DMs that have been sent recently. So let me turn my Wi-Fi off, because otherwise it gets a little bit confused. So I would be pretty disappointed if, as we were having this conversation, those chatbots were, so here we see these last 2 videos have sent them messages based on posts that I did weeks ago. So look at this top one.
Yeah.
If you scroll up through it, these are all automations.
After this messages, we're actually on automation. But good news is I'll teach you how to set these up in the course, because, well, the landscape of sales has changed. Hey, this is genius.
So then after the full automation, I tell them it's an automation.
Yeah.
So
they don't feel like you're
scamming
mugging them off. Okay.
And then I say, if you want to learn how to do this, I'll teach you in the course. And I'm actually thinking about making this its own course. And I might just sell it for $49. And then once they see how good that course is, they're way more likely to buy other things in the course. But here's another one that I've been using.
Do you know what I love? You're self-taught and you're obsessed.
The same way with the cameras and the mics.
You know, you're obsessed. I'm obsessed with business as well. Whether I'm building a festival or building a podcast or I've got an online events course, I'm loving learning this, because if you've got an online course, this is what you're teaching people. This is the way to do it. And there's no other way. This is the best way.
I would say that I position myself as a business mentor. I'm not a business mentor. I'm a social media strategist.
Yeah. And
actually I would pull myself down a few echelons. If you said, James, I need you to run the office for next year's Bournemouth Sevens, I'd tank the fucking thing.
Same. Yeah, out of the way.
And this is where I kind of have to position myself as a business guru, but actually I have a very segmented part of the business that I have expertise in. And Luke is, again, he does all my thinking. So here's a funny thing. I've only said this on maybe one other podcast. All the money I earn goes to Luke. And I lost my login for the account maybe 3 years ago. He just lets me know when it's low, when it's high. He could be doing a runner with my money or whatever. But I don't even like thinking about my finances. I like to offset everything so I can just think about this stuff. If I say to him, can I afford this? Can I afford that? He's always a bit too much. He's like, oh, go buy it. I'm like, I know I can't afford that, mate. So I just
that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust.
It's in his best interest as well that I do well. And also, if I said to him, I want an audit of all our accounts, I'd get it the next day.
Yeah.
But there are some things that he doesn't need to bring me on in, and he does. So it's one of those relationships where if he was Dom King and me, it still would be worth it, because I have everything I want in my life. Yeah. It's not like I'm scrounging around for pennies. Yeah. Also, I know that he deals with a lot of stress, whether it be emails, lawsuits, or whatever. Whenever we've been sued, he is.
Have you been sued?
Yeah. So
go on.
One of
how many times have you been sued?
Probably 4 big ones, but we haven't lost a penny.
Quality.
Apart from legal fees.
What, out of court settlement, or like you've fought against it and it's just...
We had one that I'll tell you about offline, and they fucking slammed us. And they were a big business. And I was slandering them, and they must have had, I don't know, 15, 20 lawyers go through every video I'd ever made. And they said, this video on this day, you mentioned this paragraph, this paragraph, this paragraph. They served me, my parents, my business partner, everyone. Same day. I was like, oh shit. I got legal advice and they were like, you're fucked. So we signed a settlement. I can never mention their business name online ever again. Got off lightly.
Did you have to pay any money?
No.
Okay. So it was just like, I will never do that again. Did you just hold hands like, I'm really sorry? Was it one of those?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I won't do it again.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay.
And even
what year was that?
2018.
18. Okay, so that's when you were on the rise. Where
Diran got served as well.
Did he?
But Diran didn't have any money, so he didn't give a fuck.
Okay.
He was like, "Come, take it." He's like, "I've got four grand in my current account. Come at me." I didn't have anything set up in a way to protect myself. Yeah. So everyone was like, "Yeah, shut your mouth." Then I've had a few others where I've just said something about a gym. There was one in particular where I was sent legal, and they'd screen recorded the live. So I didn't save the live. So someone, when I was live, started recording just in case there was something. Then after about a 15-minute rant at the end, I go, of course, in my honest personal opinion. So we just told them to fuck off. Yeah. And then there was
who were they?
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
Just because I'm pretty sure the guy still got it out for me. I don't want to fuel his fire.
Is he English?
Yeah.
Is it English company? Okay.
Yeah. You probably know him. The last one was...
Would I definitely know?
Probably. Might have him on at some point. There was another one recently where there was a nutritionist for a functional fitness company in Australia, which is also in the UK. And she spouted something non-evidence-based to do with how the key to fat loss is controlling your insulin. And I'll be open, it was F45.
Yeah.
And I did a video saying that this person is talking shit. Yeah. This isn't, here's the evidence, here's the evidence, here's the evidence. Now that video did way better than I could ever imagine because F45 gym owners started sharing it.
Okay. People that own the franchise were like, yeah, this is a joke. I can't believe our members have to be put in front of this poor nutritional information. Even I'll get mates texting me, like the owner of F45 is like, what the fuck is your friend trying to do to the brand or whatever? She got sacked and she deleted her socials. It was bad. Yeah. I felt bad. Yeah. I was just trying to be out there like trying to save the day. I never wanted anyone to lose their job. I got threatened with legal for a public apology. Luke went, no fucking way. No, over my dead body. Well, Luke was like, nah, doing it.
Not doing it. And they waited for us to come back to Australia. So we're in the UK at the time. The second we landed in Oz, we got like served with the email, but they needed to come give us the legal papers in person. Yeah, okay. So Luke goes, oh, come along to the show. We'll make it part of the show. And the lawyer was like, no, I'm not doing this part of the show. He goes, all right, cool.
What? So you were doing a show and you said, come on the stage and this do it as part.
Yeah, we do it as part of the event.
Genius.
And then, I remember Luke, we get to the event, we do the show, and afterwards I went, oh, what happened to the lawyer? He goes, oh, he's outside. I went, are we meeting him? He goes, of course we're not fucking meeting him. I go, what do you mean? He goes, he's been out there 4 hours. We'll go out the fire exit. So the next day, Luke gets this email. This is so unprofessional. This is poor conduct, blah, blah, blah. And Luke goes, mate, you're trying to serve us. You can fuck off. Yeah. You're trying to give us legal. As soon as we get that letter, I think we've got 28 days to respond. Yeah. And Luke said to me, they're going to pay for it. We're not going to have to pay for that. She's going to have to pay the lawyer for that. Being from the music industry and the nightlife industry, there's so much more thick-skinned.
So much.
Someone, oh, my daughter wants an apology. We're going to sue you versus someone's died at your club, died at your festival. Yeah. It doesn't really compare. So that was fun. And in the end, I just got my book advance for my second book. I think it was about 150K.
So so you've done how many books? 3 books.
3 books.
What's the name of your first, second, and third?
Not a diet book.
So the first was not a diet book. What year was that?
2019, 2020. It's just coming in beginning of 2020.
Okay.
2021, I tried to play off the title again with Not a Life Coach.
Yeah.
Just giving life advice without being a prat.
Yeah.
Then the last one was called How to Be Confident. I really should have, I'm really disappointed with the packaging on the third book. I didn't push back harder.
Okay.
Because that book is just about going for it. Yeah, it's about not being a pussy.
Yeah.
And changing your metrics for success. But the book 2 advance was about £150,000.
So you got 150 G's up front?
Yeah, for that one. I got a really good one recently. I'll tell you offline.
Wow. What did you get on your first book?
100.
So they're giving you 100 G's up front?
With 300,000 followers.
My God.
Luke.
That's a good deal.
They came in at 20. Luke said, haha. That was it. That was the email.
What, he went back?
Yeah, that was it. Haha. And then
you gotta love him.
And then this was Penguin.
Yeah.
So he called up HarperCollins and we're like, we just got a big offer from Penguin. What are you doing? And he played them against each other. We got 100K. But credit, we had to do 55,000 hardbacks to make the advance back, and we did it in like 2 or 3 weeks. So it was a good investment on their
So
behalf.
you had to do, so if they're giving you 100 grand up front,
55,000 hardbacks before royalties.
Okay. And the royalties were how much per book
it's
after
about
that?
£1 a book.
£1 a book, okay.
Which is all right.
Yeah.
And also, the reason we sold so many books is because HarperCollins pulled the strings. You're going on Piers Morgan, you're going on Chris Evans, you're doing this. And Piers Morgan was doing a book with HarperCollins at the time. So we got a bit of a friendly relationship. For me, that's always worth it. I don't want to be chasing factories like, where's my books? Yeah. And Luke looks at me in the eyes. He goes, are you prepared to lose your book advance to not go to court or to go to court and fight this person? I was like, yes, fucking do it. So we went back to the person suing us and we said, we're willing to go to court, full everything. It was easily going to cost over £100,000 and they backed off. But that was, if I didn't have his guidance.
Yeah, you wouldn't have done. Yeah, okay.
He said to me, if you have to do a public apology, you're done.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to come for one.
Yeah.
And that kind of oversight into these scenarios was priceless.
Yeah.
So every time there is any issues, I've calmed down a bit recently on that, probably because you need to be a different person to grow than you do to kind of, what would I say, maintain or establish yourself. Mm. I'm okay now where I'm at the size where actually quite a few of my socials have started stagnating, but I've had the best financial year of my life.
What, this year, 2024?
Where before before I again was using the wrong metrics. I would look at how many followers I gained in the last 7 days and be like, oh, that's successful. But for too long, even though when I was a small account, I would laugh at all the people with 1 million followers that were broke. And it's very easy to get caught up in that because you kind of thinking, okay, what's more important? If you go on Social Blade, I might have lost 55 followers this week, but my businesses have never been in a better position. And it's been really fun and enjoyable moving away from the vanity metrics. So that small YouTube channel at the moment, I might get 2,000 views on a video, but I can make between 30 and 50,000 US dollars.
Is that how? Is that because you're putting a link underneath the video, go come and join this?
So we have videos that go out that are evergreen. So I'll create a video on a topic that will just churn.
Roughly how long will that video be?
It depends on, I did one recently on why I quit my big channel. I'm still going to use my big channel. It's just great packaging. Because people see that and go, why? And they need to know why. And I alluded to what I said today, that I've got, a smaller niche thing that I really want to pay off my parents' mortgage. And the big channel, getting 10 grand from YouTube's nice from AdSense, but I'd much rather get a lot more from a smaller niche of business. No offense to Chris Williamson. This morning, I'm clearing my inbox before our chat. I see his email. I didn't read it. I marked it as unread. So it's gone from my inbox. His analytics will get told I read it.
Right. Okay. So don't.
So why aren't people clicking it? So for me, the bottom line is sales. All I look at. Maybe.
How many sales you do in a day, average? Do you know?
This month's been very good. So we've done nearly 250 sales this month to date. So
$1,000 a pop. Bloody hell.
Which is,
Mate, I'm in the wrong game.
But that's because
but you've built that up and you've become the best at what you do. The best. I can see in your eyes, you can speak for hours about this.
And if I don't, I'll go to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to people. I'm like, if anything's missing from the course, let me know. I'll go.
And there's just you and a business partner pulling this in. So and a few other people floating around or
so actually Sean, who runs Genflow, is a company that help creators monetize their products. He came to us with the idea, not for Neutonic. He actually came to me with an idea 2 years ago for a drink that would go into the productivity quadrant. So I have to give credit to Sean here. So Genflow, I think they're about 100 million turnover a year. Mike Thurston apps, Matt Does Fitness's drink, all of this, Genflow, Grace Beverly. So we sit down with him. He shows me a quadrant of energy drinks and he goes, you're fucked to compete here. Goes to productivity drinks. And although we've had that Bright and a few others that maybe have gone into that, we didn't really see it as a very competitive landscape. So we decided to go into that. So he's a shareholder in Neutonic as well. And that's good because then his team helped us with formulation, factories, products, getting into new territories. So then after, not everything was perfect sailing.
Never is. You're building a business here, new business.
But then he came to one of my business talks maybe a year, 2 years ago. And he pretty much proposed, why don't I build this infrastructure for you? Because I was doing all these events in person. I would do 9 hours of talking in one day. And then at the end, I'd be fucked. But I really enjoyed that. And again, we would charge maybe 150 to 200 pounds per person. And if you can get, we had one event in Sydney where I think we grossed maybe 60,000 pounds for 9 hours of talking, which was fine, which was all right, just Luke and I. But then the digital course space has grown. And actually not much of any of the things that I'd been successful at had paid ads behind them. This is the first time I think we've really got into using paid ads properly.
Are you a massive advocate of paid ads done properly?
I'm a massive advocate of cracking organic. That's your cake. And then paid is the icing. So many people now, they might consider my course and they go, oh, I'm going to get good at paid ads instead. And I say, well, if you can't, even little things, if you can't talk properly, present, understand your audience, create content for someone organically. If you can't make a profile grow with free, then paid, I don't think is going to help. It's going to be like putting a plaster on an axe wound. So Sean provided the infrastructure. So he's a small shareholder in it. And then Luke and I, everything else. And it's great because he'll get his cut off rev, not profit. Smart. I like how he's done that. So if we have a big month of spending on ads, he doesn't care.
He don't care, does he?
But no, it's great to have these. And again, I've always been someone in business where I'd much rather have partners than equity. And although I've got equity and everything, a respectable amount, with my fitness app, it got to the point where maybe a year in, I said to my business partner, whatever percentage of this you want, you can have. And I'd say this to Luke all the time. I'd say, if you want more, just take more. I'm not going to say, oh, actually, hold on, 20% just comes to here. I'll say, whatever you need. I even said this, my videographer, We took him to Ibiza. We took him to
It's a shame
UK.
we didn't hook up in Ibiza. We were both in Ibiza last week.
I was just before you.
Yeah, you just left the day before.
I just recovered. I only got my voice back about 3 days ago.
We went out. We took the podcast out there.
Who did you interview out there?
Oh man, we interviewed 10 people, 10 friends, 10 wild top people from Pasha, Tony Truman, DJ Fat Tony, people who lived on the island for 40 years, party boys who have overcooked it, nightclub. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing to take the podcast to another country.
That's cool. And it's, for me, when I've done the podcast, when I had my own, but it kind of got to a point where I did one episode I didn't enjoy and I canned it. It's more for me. I said that I like sending traffic to certain places and I've never done paid ads.
Yeah.
So
nor have we.
With a
It's all
pod,
organic.
so sometimes you get to a point where you're more successful with this than I was. And it got to a point where I was like, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
You know, I think I probably one day saw expenses go out and I'm like, why am I channeling hours a day to this when I could be doing something else?
Yeah.
So, and the solution should have been to get sponsors, but I'm too proud, really stubborn with that shit.
Yeah.
I got an offer from a British bank. I think it was last year. It was 80 grand for 2 posts. And that was the first time I went, oh, ouch.
Yeah.
I was
Did you say no?
Yeah.
What, just for 2 posts?
2 posts.
80 bags.
It still haunts me
Why?
now. Because your word is quite an important thing.
Agree.
So,
But it's credible. It's not like you're doing it for Dogecoin or whatever it may be.
but a year later, so if I say to someone, hey, go buy a case of this. If you don't like it, I'll refund you the other 11 cans. I like to think I'm more believable.
Yeah.
Because the second you start saying things for money, people think you say things for money.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, it's tough because Huberman, they reckon, does 40 million a year from AG1 Athletic Greens.
40 mil.
You know how so it's $99 a month for Athletic Greens, just the greens powder. And they pay 20% commission, not just on sale, on every sale. So if that person is with Athletic Greens for 6 months, it's now 120.
He's still getting his 20.
Every single time they're on in. Once you acquire the customer, you get kickback on every customer they're on in.
Another great win-win.
Rogan does the same.
Yeah.
And
have you been on Rogan's?
No.
Would you go on him?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite podcasters.
Have you reached out?
No.
No.
It will either come or it won't.
Yeah. I think it'll come.
But it'd be nice if it was to come organically.
Yeah.
And it might do. But then on the same, so I never sit back and go, oh, why haven't I been on yet? Because he's had a lot of fitness people on. He's had a lot of jiu-jitsu guys on. He's had a lot. I can get it. Maybe one day, maybe not. Either way, I'm a big advocate of his work. But the sponsorship stuff, the Athletic Greens, a lot of people have really gone for it recently. I did a video about a year and a half ago. So they don't tell you what's in it. Have you ever tried it?
No.
It's a proprietary blend, which means that they don't disclose what percentages of what. Otherwise, people could just copy it. But there's an issue where they promote I think it's inulin is 2 grams of fiber. And for the amount of grams in the serving, they can calculate how much of each ingredient above would be, because the proprietary blend has to be in order of density. So if the inulin is 2 grams, there's maybe 4 grams above it, of which most of which is spirulina. I think like 90% of the ingredients must make up less than a gram.
Right.
So they're like, hold on, this is just here to make it look like it's got loads of goodness in. Spirulina is incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
So the majority of greens powders have a real paucity of evidence to show that they do any real benefit. And the only thing you could really say they are is a form of multivitamin.
Yeah.
And for $99, what's that, 70, 80 pounds a month? It's more than people's phone bills.
Yeah.
It's more than people. It's a lot of money for people to be paying.
How would you explain James Smith
As a person. Asked ChatGPT to do it once.
Would it come up as?
Yeah. But I had to put James Smith PT, but I got that out of my Instagram name, thank God. I'm not entirely sure. Have you ever noticed that it's really easy to pick holes in what other people are doing, but you've got a blind spot to yourself? I see the same. I could look at someone training jiu-jitsu, go, oh, you need to do this better. But then you say, what you're not good at, you don't know.
Yeah.
Same way in business, you could say, his marketing strong, but he needs to work on his speech, blah, blah, blah. But then someone goes, oh, what are your weaknesses? You're kind of blind to it. The one thing I would say is I hadn't accomplished anything impressive in my life until I was 27. Yeah. And I was never entrepreneurial, never really cared. I just lived for the weekend, liked playing rugby. I think one of the best things was I worked in corporate when I was younger, recruitment and sales, never that good at it. Played rugby, and no matter how much I loved it, I just wasn't good enough at it. I look back now, I think, why didn't I just run more? I was doing all this bench. I was taking these gear cycles. I was a back row player. All I needed to do was fucking run. If I was 30% fitter, I probably could have been 4 times the rugby player. I look back at all these blind spots in my life of just being very average at things. And pretty much by sheer luck and a little ketamine trip, I ended up backpacking in Australia with a tripod and a phone. And the second I experienced some success, it gave me the confidence to do more, which gave me the confidence to do more.
Yeah.
And I suppose...
Is that the dopamine giving you the confidence?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what? Everyone seems to think you need to be confident to start something, but you need to start something to be confident at it. Same with probably year one. Year one Bournemouth Sevens, I bet people go, oh, he's punching a bit.
Yeah.
But it's only till year 3 that you go, I fucking told you.
Yeah.
And everyone
it's only till year 10 they go, overnight success.
Oh, yeah. You go, fuck off.
Fuck, mate, you don't know I'll fight you, yeah. You don't know what's gone into that. You know, we more gamble in your family house to put it on. You know, this is real. No one gets to see that. They just see like, yes, 17 now. It's like, oh, he's smashing it. It's only the people who know the true story. That's business. That's entrepreneurship through and through, isn't it?
I think that's really what I do now is anything that works for me in life, I just want to share it. Yeah. So my first book, this is why I think my second book never did as well as my first, because my first book was the 10 years I'd learned before me, where the second book was the 1 year between that and the next, which still had some pretty good, insightful lessons in it. But everything because I went through a lot of struggles with fitness, body image issues, my own poor athletic performances, my relationship to how I looked, all of those things. I think I went on steroids before I counted calories, that's what people do. So I accumulated all those lessons, became a person that professionally tries to work on their insecurities, then helps people with theirs. Then I fell into the world of business and social media. Now I help people with theirs. I've gone through my own ups and downs with drugs, alcohol, unprotected sex. I then, in my second book, said to people, hey, try and make yourself happy, not give yourself loads of pleasurable things. A lot of people then said to me, oh, you're a confident guy. You've achieved a lot. I was like, nah, I just fucking did the thing when it was presented. Third book. So everything that I do in life is actually products of my lived experience. The drink was just that I had a fitness app that was doing 7 figures a year every year, but I couldn't say I was fanatic or passionate about it. It was really a way that I could operate a business without having to drown in it. I love energy drinks. Yeah. Before we did speaking events, the only thing I was a diva about was the drinks. One time there was, I always said sugar-free Red Bulls at the events. So Luke would get the rider, sugar-free Red Bulls. And one time there was full sugar Red Bulls. And I kind of said, oh, could we get some sugar-free? He goes, listen, you're going to do a bag of Percy Pigs back here before the event. What difference does it make? It's like, fair point. Yeah. But please, could we get some sugar-free? I was like, this is the only thing that I'm a real diva about. Then I would find energy drinks like Ghost that had alpha GPC. They started having things in that could help your cognition. So then even before speaking events, I would hide my cans of Ghost behind the champagne so no one would see it.
Don't touch it, yeah.
Because if someone drank that and I was left with a can of sugar-free Red Bull, it'd go in my head before I went out. And come to realize the only real thing that I was passionate about in the lead up to an event would be the way that I was priming myself for it. So everything that I do has something to do with something that I do in my life. That's why probably the ad reads, I'm not interested in banks or banking or what provider I use. I just use one and stay with them for 10 years. Yeah. So I think that's the main thing. I've always tried to remain true to the things that are important to me. I've never either also tried to be an incredibly likable character. I don't think I was incredibly likable when I played rugby. I'll be the type of guy to undo your shoelaces at a ruck. Yeah. You fucking prick. Why'd you do that? I don't know. Just, give someone a wedgie in the mall. Yeah. Why'd you do that? I don't know. And this is another thing that pisses me off. I said this maybe a couple of weeks ago. I broke my streak of sobriety when I ended up on a night out with Sam Burgess. So here's the rugby league guy, of course, with Ant Middleton. Yeah. And
that's a combo.
It was a combo. It's probably one of the best nights of my life. I bowled in at 6 a.m. My housemate's like, I thought you were sober. I was like, I was out with Sam Burgess. They're like, amazing. And I know that Ant Middleton gets some shit sometimes. He been on here?
No.
You get him on.
Get him on.
This would be a bit of him.
Yeah.
And I said to whoever it was, I go, how can you expect someone to go to war and do all the things you don't want to do and come back and be a perfect person? Yeah. How can you expect Sam Burgess to be one of the most heroic rugby players of all time and still within family and personal life be a perfect person? Yeah. I hate this expectation that if you're slightly entrepreneurial, you should be philanthropic, or that if you're slightly intelligent, you should be empathetic. Ultimately, if you're going to be good at something, you can't be good at everything. And, likability, I've just never really had the patience for it. You ever felt like in life, you just sometimes just want to say to people, just fuck off.
Yeah.
Really, if you're in a pub, you only want to hang out with a quarter of the people in there. The rest of them are just not your people. And I hate that some people on social media are just fake. You notice it where...
That's one thing that does bug me. Seeing fake entrepreneurs on social media.
Fake money or fake person
money,
or both?
Fake person, but all of it. Because you know the full story, but they're creating a big front.
I've had this.
Do you ever call anyone out who's fake?
Not really. I'm trying to build my own thing instead of pull other people's down for the time being. There could be season 2 coming.
Because you do call people out, right? That's what you're known.
Yeah.
Part of what you're known to do.
Do you know what? The main reason I do it is because it's a compelling hook.
Okay.
So if I can use someone else's, so rather than me trying to establish authority, I bring in someone else's authority and I tear it down.
Yeah.
But it's only because the second you bring someone else into the fray, it's more engaging for people.
Okay.
Me reacting to what someone else says might be a better introduction and hook for engagement than what I say. And people actually love, when I'm on Twitter, I love watching people fight. Sounds crazy, right? See, I think there's one called Fight Something. You see people bare knuckle fight in the street, and then you see someone like dodge a punch and knock someone out. I'm like, yeah, good, deserve that. Yeah. So when you have some element of going after someone, people love it. People are actually waiting online to see you fail. They're waiting online to see you fall. They're waiting online to see you fuck up. They're waiting online, recording the screen to see you get cancelled. So when you bring someone else into the mix, they can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
People get really, I had a few pops to that Eddie Abu.
Yeah.
Have
you met him?
No.
No.
But his content a few years ago was really sensible.
Yeah.
It's like quite well balanced. He is a product of the people, not who he is. So he would have lost his shit once. Because I did it to myself. First time I called someone a I was like, hey. I was like, right, everyone's getting called a now. And for him, he lost it in a supermarket to a packet of fucking chocolate and he's become a product of the people. But the people are going to get bored of him and dump him soon. Okay. And that's going to be a real tough fall off for him because his meteoric rise was so high. But soon he's going to be gone off goods. Like, oh yeah, like Tiger King's not getting booked for much. Yeah. Been and gone. So some people are genuinely fake. And also I like to tell people, I know what the peak of human happiness is because I've been there. Maybe MDMA induced, whatever. But sometimes it's just a little nod to your friends. Like, imagine someone comes in here, we're going to buy your pod for 10 million. You probably sit back and go, oh, that's fucking awesome. That is probably the height of human emotions. When someone online's like, hey man, what's going on? Like, or they're like, oh, you're like, this is fake. Yeah. And you can spot it from a mile off. Yeah. And I think that if people could just be more normal online, they'd probably get, more. Do you see the Dana White podcast?
Yeah. I like Dana White. He's one guy I'd like to get on the podcast.
He's fucking cool.
Yeah, mate.
But the guy was trying to lick his ass a bit. And in the intro, he goes, Dana, you're an inspiration, man. You changed the game. You're fucking awesome. And Dana just takes his headphones out. He goes, I can't fucking do this. And just walks out.
Did he did?
Yeah, he walked out of the pod. And everyone's thinking, is this like part of a skit? Yeah. He's like, this is fucking exhausting. He goes, I'm never doing a podcast again. Yeah. Just jumps off.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I like Rogan so much. Yeah. I like it when he argues with people or, hold on, don't think that's true.
Yeah.
There's too much arse licking for a lot of conversations online. And real authenticity, some people just can't hack it. They just think you're an asshole, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
you're being true to yourself, right? There's nothing better than being true to yourself, going, boo, this is what I think and this is how I feel.
If I'm at Bournemouth Sevens next year and I get caught doing a key or something, someone goes, it's just James.
We know he's done that.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like it's important to humanize yourself, but also 8 Mile it a bit. I've had a few conversations with my parents. My mum and dad are like, you did what? Yeah. We heard this on a podcast. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is another thing.
You're just being you. Are you going to come to Bournemouth Sevens next year? Are you in the country last bank holiday in May 2025?
So it's my birthday, May 23rd. So I used to come for my birthday weekend all the time.
Let's make it happen.
I'm back in April. If not, maybe the year after. With a newborn, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, of course.
But do you know what? One year I'll come, I'll do a YouTube video, I'll wear a disguise. And I'll just spend the whole weekend in disguise.
On it and no one knows.
Yeah. And I'll just get like a fake beard and like a little hat. And I'll just like bop around from dance floor to dance floor. And I'll have that one night that I never had before. Yeah. And that would be nice.
Let's make it happen. James, I've absolutely loved this, mate.
Thank you very much.
You're a proper good bloke and I love your honesty.
Cheers, mate.
And you've created some amazing businesses off the back of just going, everyone out of my way. I need to be obsessed by this. I'm going to learn this. Email marketing. I'm going to get. It's amazing to see.
Thanks, mate.
How you can earn a living by creating all this stuff online.
And not having to go to work.
And not having a big team. You've ticked every single box, mate.
Cheers.
And you've got a little one. Fantastic, mate.
Thank you very much.
You're a gentleman, man.
Cheers.
Good man. Cheers, James. Thanks, take care, mate. Hi, guys. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Can you do us a favour and subscribe to the channel? It's totally free and it massively helps our show. Cheers, guys.